Hi guys! Today I'm gonna talk about Cape Fear. I have read the book and I have seen the 2 movies. When people talk about Cape Fear, most of the attention usually goes to the movies. Either the classic 1962 movie, directed by J. Thompson, starring Gregory Peck as Sam Bowden and Robert Mitchum as Max Cady.
Well, I know how it is. I sweat too. For 8 solid years, I sweat. You gonna buy me a drink?
Waiter?
That'll be double, waiter. 12-year-old. My rich cousin there says nothing's too good for old Mike.
Or the much darker 1991 remake directed by Martin Scorsese, starring Nick Nolte as Sam Bowden, Robert De Niro as Max Cady, Jessica Lange as Lee Bowden, and Juliette Lewis as Danielle Bowden.
You notice these young people?
They don't look very happy.
They're committed to their professions and to their ambitions, but they're not committed to each other.
Katie, shut up and listen. If you don't leave my family alone, and if you don't get out of here, you're gonna be hurting like you never dreamed.
Could you repeat that?
I said, if you don't get out of here, you're gonna be hurting like you never dreamed.
A threat.
Yeah, you bet your ass that's a threat.
But before either film existed, there was the original novel, The Executioners, written by John D. MacDonald and published in 1957. After finally reading the original novel, I came away with a surprising conclusion. The book is the best version of the story. Not because it's scarier, not because it's more violent, but because it gives you a family worth rooting for. The original novel presents the Bowden family as loving and united. Sam and Peggy Bowden have a strong marriage, they trust each other, they communicate. When Max Cady enters their lives and begins his campaign of terror, they stand together against him. In the book, Max Cady isn't just threatening individuals, he's threatening a family unit. Every attack feels more personal because you can see what the Bowdens are trying to protect. Their love for one another becomes a weapon against Cady's cruelty. The family feels real, and because they feel real, the danger feels real. The 1962 film does a respectable job adapting the novel, especially considering the restrictions of the era. Hollywood's censorship rules were still very strict, and filmmakers couldn't show or discuss many of the darker elements found in the book. As a result, Max Cady becomes more of a traditional thriller villain than the deeply disturbing predator he is in the novel. The performances are excellent. The black and white cinematography gives the story a timeless quality. But compared to the novel, something is missing. The family relationships are simplified. We spend less time with them, which means we have less emotional investment in their struggle. The film captured the suspense of the story, but not all of its heart. Then we got the 1991 remake. For many viewers, this is the definitive version of Cape Fear. It's darker, more graphic, more psychological, and far more intense. Martin Scorsese takes the basic premise and turns it into something almost nightmarish. Robert De Niro's Max Cady is unforgettable. Covered in tattoos, speaking in biblical quotations, and radiating menace in every scene. He's one of the most disturbing villains ever put on screen. The problem is that the remake changes the Bowden family so dramatically that I find myself caring about them less. In the novel, the family is strong before Max Cade arrives. In the 1991 film, they're already falling apart. Sam and Lee Bowden have marriage problems. Their daughter Danielle is drifting away from their parents. There are secrets, resentment, and distrust long before Katie enters the picture. Instead of attacking a united family, Katie exploits a family that's already fractured. It's an interesting idea, and it creates plenty of drama, but it changes the entire meaning of the story. After reading the novel, I couldn't help feeling that something important had been lost. The original story is about a good family being terrorized by evil. The remake becomes a story about a dysfunctional family forced to confront its own flaws while being terrorized by evil. That's not necessarily worse as a film. In fact, it's a brilliant made movie, but it doesn't hit me as hard emotionally because I never feel the same connection to the Bowdens that I do in the book. When the family suffers in the novel, I suffer with them. When the family suffers in the film, I'm often watching from a distance. That's why my ranking might surprise some people. For me, the novel comes first. The 1991 remake comes second because of its incredible performances, unforgettable atmosphere, and psychological intensity. And the 1962 film comes third. Not because it's bad, but because its censorship of its era prevented them from fully exploring the darkness that made the book so powerful. All three versions are worth experiencing. But if you've only seen the movies, I highly recommend reading The Executioners. You may discover, as I did, the most frightening version of Cape Fear isn't the one with the biggest scares or the most graphic violence. It's the one that gives you a family you truly care about losing.